You're probably fairly familiar with this map as it's one of the older ones in the game already, but I can assure you that there are probably some tweaks and tricks that you are not aware of just yet. So let's show you in this video. Okay, this is one of the more campy maps with lots and lots of strong 2D positions, which you should keep in mind at all times. Mainly there are 3 good 2D positions in the back here on the 2D hill that is very popular, also behind that rock here, and also on the medium side there is another hill where 2Ds might be camping. The same applies for the other side here of the map. It is a pretty symmetrical map with only small differences that I will get to later on. So just keep those 3 2D positions in mind and try to cover from them at all times in the game. So let's start with the first spots for light tanks or mediums even on this map, because some of them are not too well known. The first one would be here on the seaside, where you can just peek up on the hill at the start. If you're having some very fast tank, you can just go for a quick peek, but got to be super worried about not being there for too long, because there might be some TDs already pre-aiming you. Enemy mediums might shoot you already. But if you are doing this move, you are able to spot up any heavies coming towards you from any of the 2 sides. So that might already be some good information to have. If you're not having the fastest tank, then I would definitely recommend going for the rock or like the bush right next to it and just play the seaside a bit more passively, pre-aim the enemies until some or the other will move into the sea cap so you can punish the enemies over there. Also a very sneaky move to go for is just pushing up the seaside from the side here, where you can shoot the enemies that are moving up on sea right into the side, but you have to be super careful about TDs on the other side on the hill there that can shoot you after just a few seconds into the game. So just don't stay there on the outer side for too long, especially if the enemies are having a lot of TDs there. From the north spawn you can also just move up through the rocks here and get a quick spot onto the heavy tanks, which might just work a little bit better than the position on the hill on the side here, because you might have some early shot already. So much about the medium side, but you can also go for a very sneaky spot in the middle of the map, especially if you're having enough tanks to cover the medium side already. I really like going for the B cap here and just moving in between the houses from the B side here. I will move like that, or from the opposite side through the houses over there, just so that I can get into the middle here, where I would be able to spot off all the TDs moving into the corner at the start, because I can just shoot them a couple of times. Maybe some teammates are also having some shots already, which can be super helpful in the later stage of the game, because the TDs in the corner, both of the corners, are very hard to dig out. If it is a very light setup, like enemies are having mostly mediums and just 2 heavies, they might actually decide to just go all for the medium side. And so you could also just move your medium or light tank towards the middle area here on the heavy side and try to just get in some first shots into the heavy tanks, and might be able to flank around the enemies in a later stage then, or just retreat towards the medium sides then. Also quite nice about the corner here in the back for both sides is that you do have a bush, and you also have some rocks, and you have the option of going hull down. You have some high ground. So if the enemies are just having the advantage on sea, you might fall back behind that and you can still get covered from your TDs from the other side of the map, and you might stay there for a pretty long time actually. Also a little tip here, if you are on a medium tank and just being able to win the medium flank and are able to just get behind the enemies, then do not overcommit. Don't get deep into the enemy spawn. Don't push into the enemy TD position, because there, if you get spotted and counter pushed, you have a lot of open terrain, which does not allow you to run away anymore. Just use the hills in the back here like that, or even on the south spawn there is this hill that allows you to just get even more aggressive and shoot the enemies from behind into their back, and you can just farm your damage while staying safe, and you want to definitely stay alive there. And for last, there is one bonus position which might be saving you the game. If you are low on hit points, your team has the A side already, and the enemies are rather on C, then you can move up between these little hills here, and you can just overlook the whole map for just putting out the occasional shots if you don't have the hit points to get aggressive anymore. But just be very careful about getting spotted, because you might be completely in the open. You need the enemies at a long distance, meaning they are behind the rails here, so you can just farm them without getting spotted by them. Quick interruption here, guys. If you're enjoying this kind of video, then make sure to just leave a like, leave a comment with your favorite spot, and also just share the video with your friends, because this is not the kind of content that YouTube will promote on its own. It is just a bit more specific, so just share it with people that might enjoy it and might need it. For heavy tanks, my starting position would mostly be in the middle area, which just allows you to stay safe of enemy TDs that are over there. From the other side, it works just the same way, because you do have this house here, and you can get hull down right next to it, so you can get some early shots into enemy heavies crossing for the A side. You could also, if that position is already taken, move up to the left side here, right next to this rock, where you will be covered off to these in the corner. But mostly my move would be to just go for the right position here first, and then I would relocate towards the rock to be safe of the corner. But I would still have the TDs in the back here, right next to the rock, right in front of me. So just got to keep that in mind. But any of those two positions allows me to stay safe of one or the other TD position, and I can just fight the heavies right in front of me and see what I can do there. If the enemies are playing the middle aggressively, if they are overpeaking like hell, I can just fall back here behind this rock that we can see over there. Same goes for the other side, and behind that rock I will be safe and have some TD cover from the side. If we are seeing it, there are the TDs right behind. Same applies to the other side, and I can just hide behind the rock and am perfectly covered here if my teammates are not sleeping, and if I did not forget about looking at the minimap at the start of the game. Also, a big benefit about going for the inner side here is that you do have this little hill right in front of you, which just allows you to take cover and go hull down. If the enemies are pushing through the A cap, you will be perfectly hull down there and can still farm them from a good position then. Should nothing like that be happening, I would try to move towards the A cap, and I can still try to fight over there. Also, a very sneaky position is moving up over here, where I can just have some gun depression. Does not work from the north spawn, only from the south spawn in this side here. And otherwise I will have to go for the A side here. But of course there is the TD position right in front of me, so I am very exposed there on A, so I have to just make sure I don't overextend and stay right behind that little hill. If none of that is working out, I would have to consider just either waiting it out or getting all the way around to the medium flank to support over there. Also, with a heavy tank, especially a faster heavy tank, I could definitely consider going for the medium side, because it might be very hard to push away some TDs and heavies right in front of me, and could just kill some mediums fairly quickly, and it would already gain me a huge benefit. Another very sneaky move to keep in mind if you are playing a heavy tank here, or even a medium tank, and enemies are pushing forwards on A, you might want to just drop back here to get behind the A cap, because there you can be hull down and you still have the TD cover from behind, from the rocks here and maybe some guys over here. Then you can cover the A cap quite nicely without putting yourself at risk. Both works from both spawns again, so you can take some good hull down positions in the rear here. You could also fall back into this area. There are some little hills over there that allow you just survive a little bit longer and allow your teammates to just farm off of your spots a bit. Also, for pushing A, keep in mind that you might be able to just move into this area here, where you can just take some hull down positions and shoot the guys on the right side from this position. And you might also be hull down towards the TDs in front, and same for the other spawn here. So that works pretty nicely as well. Apart from that, if you have to push that A cap, I would recommend just going through here, because there you are quite hidden of the TDs in the back here, and you can just shoot out that heavy right in front of you and you're pretty safe there. So you can create some good crossfire and see what you could do later on now. For autoloaders or less armored heavy tanks that are not perfectly capable of going hull down, I might also consider going for the houses behind B. This also works for TDs, by the way. If you're playing a Jag E100 for example, or even a Grillo or Hori, then I might just go behind the houses here, shoot out anyone that is coming towards B. And if I'm behind the house here, I might have shots towards the mediums as well. And I could then pressure forwards through the B cap to shoot enemies into the side. But that is of course a bit risky, as you might get counter pushed there, but still it is a very good choice for autoloaders. From the north spawn, it looks a bit different because you don't have the best angle from there, so you might just want to move around the B cap and then you can shoot into the side of the heavy tanks here, but you also have the TD position right in front of you, so just keep that in mind and don't overextend for too long there. Just a little thing here to keep in mind is that from the south spawn, this house just allows you to have some very good position. From the north spawn, I would go for the house on the inner side here, because you're seeing that this house here is a bit more angled, so you're not that well covered from heavies going hull down in the middle and also the TDs in the back. And especially if then someone is pushing through B, you might be very stuck here. So the other side is a bit safer here from the north spawn. Let's get to the TDs here. There are very strong TD positions on this map, which would be the main position here in the corner over here, symmetrical for the other side. There is this very strong TD position that allows you to overlook the whole map basically. You can put out shots anywhere and you mostly stay unspotted, are very safe from getting pushed onto. Otherwise, if you are having some slower TD, I would maybe even move towards base B here. But also if it is a very medium light lineup, I would maybe consider supporting my mats here from the medium side, but only if my mediums are at a disadvantage. Otherwise, I would be pretty much useless there. Overall, keep in mind that this map highly depends on the medium side here, because there are such strong TD positions in the front that it is hardly possible to push the heavy side if the enemies are having a lot of heavies. And if you're then losing the medium flank, you might get flanked and get crossfired into your back, and this is just basically automatically lost then at this point. So if your mediums are at a disadvantage, maybe consider supporting them, but not with a super heavy necessarily. That might not be working out at all. That's it for this map already. Don't forget to check out my previous map guides and also follow the link down in the description below. See you guys soon.